Good afternoon, everyone. It's Aniva Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I thought I would talk about fear and attachment. And these two things are often quite closely linked. And I thought I'd start with one quote, so you'll start having something to reflect on before I discuss it. This quotation is by Kate McKeown, and it says, "Fear creates attachment. Look around at the people and things you feel attached to, the people and things that you believe you can't live without. What is it that you're afraid of? Make it a goal to let go of attachment, and when you do, the fear will leave and unexpectedly beautiful things can come into its place. That is the reward for living in love and faith instead of in fear." The reward for living in love and faith instead of in fear. So now, I would like to talk about fear and attachment because again, when we're attached to something, it's again something that we're afraid to lose usually. And so we become attached that this is something I have to hold on to. And what do we do this with? We can do this with a job that we're not happy with and we're so attached to it that we're not happy, but we're going to stay in it because there's the fear of I might not make that income if I lose this job, if I leave this job, even though I'm not happy in it. It could be a relationship that I'm in this relationship, but I'm not happy. But again, maybe things will work out, but I'm not happy. It's constantly there. And yet I'm fearful of being lonely can often be the situation in that situation. The other thing is people's feedback, right? I'm fearful of what someone else thinks. So I'm fearful of what my boss thinks makes me stay at work, or fearful of my coworkers and I am going to stay at work because I want them to think well of me. Or I'm fearful about my relationship, or I'm fearful about what other people would say if I change this relationship. And all of these things, definitely do contribute to people's fears and then our actions from them, right? And this whole idea of being able to let go of something after, of course, my bias would be after an appropriate length of time for whatever time is right in your own mind, and time really has nothing to do with it, but the appropriate space is created to really work on something, to make it work if you choose to have it work. So the workplace, we can work on things that, I fear my boss not liking me saying that I don't like how they run things, so I don't speak about it. Could be a step before leaving a job, right? Same thing with the relationship. Same idea that can I share that this is what I do not like before stepping out of a relationship. And again, those actions then produce the results or consequences of that speaking. And of course, that takes confidence too, right? So even to just express ourselves takes that. Now, many people would rather just pull away and not say anything and just quietly slink away and say, this is just something I have to do. So people do leave jobs all the time. People leave relationships all the time. But then they sit there fuming and upset about the situation. And then the next situation they get into carries that energy with it, right? So this is a very useful thing to contemplate for any of us, for all of these areas. And there's a million fears that are in the world. But if we look at fear specifically, fear, what does it do to ourselves? It usually paralyzes someone. It literally just stops them from doing anything, right? So that's an important awareness to have. And you might have noticed this, and you can contemplate to see whether that does strike a chord for you. I found another quotation, which I thought was very fitting too, and it said, this is by the Dalai Lama, and it says, attachment constrains our vision so that we are not able to see things from a wider perspective. Attachment constrains our vision so that we are not able to see things from a wider perspective. What's the wider perspective? How do you make sure that your true wishes are coming through in your actions, in your workplace, in your relationship, in any relationships, in your life? This wider perspective of this space, as opposed to this is not right, right? This a wider perspective is a very different space, and we can't get to that wider perspective when there's that fear. It has to be this way. This is the exact way that this has to be. The more we limit our vision, and it's usually through fear, though many people would not actually acknowledge that unless they do some contemplation about this, then It's like, what if I put more into it than what it's worth in any way, right? What if I put more effort into this and I don't get anything out of it? And that's already starting from a place of it has to be this way. And that's not the wider perspective, is it? So then the next quotation that I thought was fantastic is something that I posted just a few days ago on Facebook and LinkedIn. And I wanted to share this because I feel that it's a very important quotation. This is, let's see. I don't actually have the author for this, but I'm going to tell you that it's a wonderful quote, and so I'll share it with you. It says, try not to confuse attachment with love. Attachment is about fear and dependency and has more to do with love of self than love of another. Love without attachment is the purest love because it isn't about what others can give you because you're empty. It's about what you can give others because you're already full. So this is about your giving to others. And this giving space does not come with constraints. If you do this in this way, then I will give. That's not a loving space, and that's not a space of love. And when we have attachment, oftentimes we do not realize that we move into this space that is not so loving. Though people will easily say, well, I'm staying in this job because I love the people I work with. I love the work that I do, but I don't love the boss. So there isn't that back and forth. There isn't that, this is the little tiny part that I love, but this big picture is I'm not happy, right? That's what we're looking at from the broader perspective. So this is an interesting concept or idea for you to contemplate today. And then finally, I thought I'd share this quotation, which I believe is a good message for all of us. It's by Ty Howard. And this is perhaps easier said than done for most, but I really feel that unless we actually open our minds to this possibility, we really do get stuck in the same mechanical process day in, day out, doing things to please others because it makes them feel better, but we're not necessarily feeling better. And this is about ourselves understanding ourselves and understanding our own capabilities, our strengths, our powers, our ability for being able to handle different situations, our strengths of handling change and adaptability. And many people have lost the strength of adaptability because we have narrowed it down to this is how I want things. This has to be this way, rather than what are the things that I can give to? And that giving space is a much bigger space. So this quotation says, life is short. Work where you're continuously accepted, respected, appreciated, encouraged, inspired, empowered, and valued. And isn't that what all of us would like? Whether it's in our workplace, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's in friendships, these are the things that we all would love to experience. And unless we're feeling that experience, we are not going to recognize that something's not quite right, that we're in that constrained spot. And we can blame other people. We can say, well, my boss isn't good, my coworkers aren't good, my friends aren't good, this person's too constraining, but we do it to ourselves, right? Where we'll say that, okay, to please that person, I'll do this. And even think, well, isn't that a kind space to work from? Except when we come from this constrained energy, we don't give the best of ourselves too. So again, I'll read that quotation one more time. It says, life is short. Work where you're continuously accepted, respected, appreciated, encouraged, inspired, empowered, and valued. I wish this for all of us, and I hope that we can allow and help people feel this in our presence too, because we have the same ability to give all of those feelings and that experience to other people who we're communicating with, as we have to receive from the universe for us too. But it also takes the action that helps us both act from this space and receive from this space. Same space, same values, same goal. I wish you a fabulous day ahead contemplating some of these ideas. I hope you have a great evening. It is Sunday here, and I'm not sure what day it is where you're watching from, but I hope you have a fabulous day, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.